Am I the asshole for not prioritizing my baby after his birth? When I tell you this woman went to hell to back to deliver our child.
It was apparently an easy delivery, yet it was more gruesome than my worst nightmares.
I had read it all but was truly unprepared.
So in the heat of the moment, I forgot to look at our baby. It may sound cruel, but I was fine with the nurse telling us that the baby is healthy. The woman I had promised to love and protect was crying, howling, looking like she was fighting death all because of me.
My entire focus was on her and her doctor. My mom asked me how the baby looked when he came out. She apparently wanted to relate back to how I looked. I said I don't know and told her why.
Apparently I was in the wrong for that.
She told my wife's mother, who echoes the sentiment.
Apparently, I got the rare opportunity that most men in their era never did and screwed it up.
One of the comments was passed in my wife's earshot while we thought she was asleep. She wasn't, heard it, and started crying over how I don't love our child.
That, I don't mind.
She's still zonked out on hormones and pain. Luckily she quickly fell asleep and hasn't mentioned it since. Hoping, she didn't register that interaction.
But yeah, am I the asshole and a whipped husband who messed it up?
I don't care what anyone says, this is next level dedication to your wife. I think it is amazingly sweet. Keep it up because it will make for a great marriage. I'm sure you love your child. This situation is not a measure of how much you love your child. It's a measure of how much you love your wife. Not the asshole.
My dad fainted when I was born. My mom still jokes with him about it, but it didn't stop him from being a great dad for the past 33 years.
Everyone reacts in that moment differently.
The thing that's important is you were present and making sure everyone involved is okay.
No idea why you're getting so much crap for this. Not the asshole.
Childbirth is a hard process, and I don't blame you, as a spectator, for feeling overwhelmed, powerless, and not thinking clearly.
Your focus was on your wife. You clearly love her dearly and felt bad for the pain she was experiencing. You will have all your life to look at your baby. Congrats.
Not the asshole. Something similar happened when I gave birth. My husband was hovering over me, and I was trying to send him over to hover over the baby.
The baby is 11 now and I look back and laugh.
At the time, I knew I was okay and I was concerned about the baby. My husband explained to me that while he of course loved the baby immediately, he'd known me a lot longer and I was the one who was still getting stitched up and worked on. He could hear that the baby was fine.
He's proved over and over how much he loves our kid since then.
Not the asshole. Holy shit. You were worried about your wife, potentially afraid of losing her, and wife doesn't count, call you an asshole because now they can't compare it. SMH.
Not the asshole. Why are these mothers ruining one of the most important moments of your and your wife's life?
They need a dose of reality. It's not about them.
Am I the asshole for acting like my boyfriend's stepsister to prove a point?
My 27 female boyfriend, 26 male, Matt, and I have been together nearly 4 years, and moved in together earlier this year. His stepsister, Clara, is currently staying with us for a few weeks on and off, and that's where the problem arises.
Clara has always been a princess type. That's her thing, whatever. But it's always annoyed me how Matt reacts to it.
He goes along with it completely. He is her doormat from the second she arrives until the second she leaves.
I always figured that's his choice and his business, so I never said anything about it, but since she's been staying it's really been bothering me.
He carries her things like a pack mule, runs around every morning trying to get her the breakfast she wants, makes reservations at restaurants he hates just because she likes it, and gives her free use of his credit cards to buy whatever she wants.
There's other things, but these are the type of things. I feel so awkward when he's fawning over her like that. I've spoken to him about how he acts around her and his excuse is always, "What am I supposed to do? That's how she is." I asked him if he doesn't find it inconsiderate and annoying and he said no. I don't believe him. I don't believe he could not notice that the way she acts is inconsiderate. So I tried an experiment.
I started acting like her.
Last week, the last day she was here, I said I wanted fresh fruit for breakfast.
When Matt didn't say anything, I asked if he'd go get some, which he did.
When we went out for lunch, I didn't even offer to pay.
When we went to run errands after lunch, I made him drive 30 minutes to the next town over to go to a particular shopping center, and I took longer than usual choosing products.
I also made him drive home. I could see he was a bit annoyed by me, but he didn't say anything.
Later, I suggested we order takeout instead of cooking, and when he said okay, I asked to order on his app. Clara got home after we ate, and Matt spent most of the evening playing video games with her because he was clearly upset with me by this time. After she went to bed, Matt confronted me, asking if I was okay because I had been acting odd all day. He said I'd been treating him like he works for me, which he didn't appreciate, but if I was stressed or upset we should talk through it.
I told him that I had spent one day treating him exactly how his sister does, and he hated it, so he can't say he doesn't notice how she is.
Matt got mad and said that was an insane thing to do, and he noticed because that's not my personality.
He called me childish and said I'd wasted a day for nothing. It's been a few days and things have been awkward.
Matt has been spending evenings gaming or with friends and has been cold to me.
I don't think I did anything that bad, but my girlfriends say testing him like that was stupid when Matt treating Clara like a baby really doesn't affect me, so I should just ignore it. Now I feel bad. Edit Clara is also 26, a lot of people asked. IDK, I think what you did was funny, and he sounds kind of sad.
You have to admit, there is something weird with their relationship if that's how she treats him. And he goes along with it.
I think an important piece of information is missing. How long has she been his stepsister?
If they were still kids when this happened, their parents may have forced this behavior into him, which resulted in him being conditioned to do as she asks, even if there are no real repercussions anymore.
She is just this way, could be the justification he was given, so he learned it this way and it still carries over. Ah, incest?
No way would my stepbrother do all that for me, and I would say we have a good relationship.
Are you sure he doesn't have feelings for her?
Yeah, what you're describing is the kind of shit pathetic guys do to get their crush to fuck them. If a man's treating another woman in his life better than he treats his significant other, well, just how significant is that other?
How old is Clara? That's really the age that's relevant to this story. Am I the asshole for demanding to be bought a new drink after dropping one due to being scared by a dog? 3 friends and I went to a bar in a popular part of town. We got a patio table and I went to the bar and ordered the first round of drinks. As I was walking back to our table, a dog jumped up and started barking. I jumped about a mile high. I dropped a drink. The owner quickly controls his dog, apologizes, and turns away from me.
I tell the guy that I'm expecting a new drink from him.
I drop the other 3 drinks off at our table and go back and demand the guy to buy me a new drink. In my mind, this was not my fault and the dog owner was at a fault. He says he won't do that and I should be more aware of my surroundings. I'm livid. I call him a piece of shit. I tell him if his dog can't ignore me as I walk by, then his dog shouldn't be here. He tells me I should find somewhere that doesn't allow dogs. Calls me an asshole and tells me to leave them alone. I drop it, complain to the bar, but they did nothing. I'm just baffled by the lack of accountability here. I don't mind dogs, but I didn't like being scared like that. Am I the asshole? Nah. Sorry, but you dropped your drink. No one knocked it out of your hand, pushed you, or jostled your tray. You were startled, yes. But a child screaming or a sudden burst of laughter can be startling. Would you ask those people for a new drink? Now would it have been nice for him to offer you a drink? Sure. But I don't think he owed you a drink. You are the asshole.
In these type of situations the bar would normally just make you another drink, but I'm guessing you were so confrontational that they decided not to.
I mean not the asshole for dropping the drinks, but you didn't really handle the situation after well. I would have gone up to the bartender and explained the situation and nicely asked for new drinks. I could see myself flinching if a big dog jumped and barked at me if I didn't expect it and was carrying 2-3 drinks. You are the asshole. It sounds like you had a bit of attitude.
Demand a drink? Livid?
Call him a piece of shish, tea? The dog didn't attack you. It barked. Dogs do that. Would it have been nice if you replaced your drink? Yes.
But he didn't. Get another one and enjoy your evening.
You are the asshole, it's a wonder they didn't kick you out. Clearly you were in a place where dogs were allowed. The dog was visible.
The restaurant might have offered to replace the drink or not, but he was not obligated to do so.
Find somewhere that doesn't allow dogs. Esh. I have a dog I bring in public. If it was aggressive towards someone, barking, etc.,
and that scared them, and they dropped their drink. I feel like I would replace it. Just because a dog is allowed in an establishment doesn't mean it should be brought in if it can't behave properly.
Am I the asshole for telling an acquaintance I don't really give a shit about their kids? At a bar with friends. All sitting around a table. All in our 30s. We do this like once or twice a month.
There is a woman I'll name Joan who is a new girlfriend of one of my friends.
She has kids from a previous marriage and they are doing well together. Now I have a dog right now, not kids. Whenever I tell a story about the dog, this twat just always rolls her eyes and tries to change the subject to her children or children in general.
The other night I called her out on this, asking why dude always seems to not want to listen to a funny dog story.
I just don't really care much about dogs. I don't really care much about your kids, but I considerately listen to your stories, regardless. She kinda gasped like I just called her the C word. Like me saying that was some horrible thing for a person to say. Needless to say, things got awkward and my wife and I left like 10 minutes after that conversation. My friends are split. Some say I could have phrased it better. I dunno. Am I the asshole? Edit. Insufferable, insufferable, insufferable. Not the asshole.
You didn't use foul language or anything, you just called out her crappy behavior.
Not the asshole. Now I have a dog right now, not kids. Whenever I tell a story about the dog, this twat just always rolls her eyes and tries to change the subject to her children or children in general.
The other night I called her out on this, asking why dude always seems to not want to listen to a funny dog story.
I just don't really care much about dogs. I don't really care much about your kids, but I considerately listen to your stories, regardless. You were polite and honest.
You didn't say anything disparaging.
You merely pointed out you had no real interest in hearing about the antics of her little blessings, but listened respectfully when she speaks. But to be fair, the people without dogs or kids could find you both insufferable. Sometimes dog owners can be annoying about it like parents can be. I just don't really care much about dogs. I don't really care much about your kids, but I considerately listen to your stories, regardless. Not the asshole. If corporate asked me to tell the difference between these two, I would have to say they're the same. She said it and you matched it. Not the asshole. People like that are insufferable. I'd love to hear about your dog. Not the asshole. She has been rude by rolling her eyes and changing the subject back to her kids. You were blunt, but not rude.
Yes, you could have been less direct, but I don't think you did anything wrong.
She needs to learn how to listen to what other people have to say and not just talk about herself all the time. That's how adult relationships work.